Hello everyone, welcome to Talking Class with Roland Nish. I'm Matt, and in this video, I'm going to break down all the features you get for each of the 4 subclasses for the Sorcerer class in D&D's 5.5e or the 2024 Player's Handbook. If you haven't done so already, check out our Talking Class playlist. There you're going to find videos breaking down all the features you get levels 1 through 20 for all the classes, and a separate video that breaks down all the features you get with their subclasses just like this one. The Sorcerer class has 4 subclasses. It's the Aberrant, the Clockwork, the Draconic, and the Wild Magic Sorcery. We're going to start out with Aberrant Sorcery. This could be, by the time you reach level 3 and you're choosing a subclass, there are obvious reasons to choose what you want to play, but there are also narrative reasons that you could take into account, and I love that the handbook actually suggests this to you. The Aberrant Sorcerer, your powers could be coming from some kind of otherworldly influence that has wrapped its tendrils around your mind, giving psionic power. So this is the ability for you to touch other minds and alter the world around you. And at level 3, it starts with psionic spells. These are spells that you're just going to always have prepared, and it's not going to count against the list of spells that you prepare yourself. Starting at level 3, you get Arms of Hadar, Calm Emotions, Detect Thoughts, Dissonant Whispers, and Mind Sliver. These are Dissonant Whispers, Mind Sliver, Detect Thoughts, Calm Emotion. They are totally working against the mind. Arms of Hadar is a way to stretch out an emanation from you for 10 feet, and those that are in it take necrotic damage and can't take reactions if they fail the saving throw. These are representative of how you could change things around you or use mind powers. At level 5, you get Hunger of Hadar and Sending. At level 7, Eovard's Black Tentacles and Summon Aberration. And then level 9, Rary's Telepathic Bond and Telekinesis. Also at level 3, you get a feature called Telepathic Speech. As a bonus action, you can choose a creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself. You and the chosen creature can communicate telepathically with each other while the two of you are within a number of miles equal to your Charisma modifier. Again, Charisma is going to be your spellcasting ability and likely your highest ability score. To understand each other, you must mentally use a language the other knows. The telepathic connection lasts for a number of minutes equal to your sorcerer level. So here at level 3, it's 3 minutes. It ends early if you use this ability to form a connection with a different creature. At level 6, you get a feature called Psionic Sorcery. When you cast any level of 1 or higher spell from your psionic spell list, so we're talking about these spells here. Anytime you cast one of them, you can cast it by expending the spell slot required or expending a number of sorcery points equal to that spell's level that you're casting it at. If you're casting with the sorcery points, it's not going to require verbal or somatic components, and it requires no material components unless they are consumed by the spell or have a cost specified in it. Some of them do. That's important to note because if you are trying to cast a spell in a quiet situation, to be able to do so without verbal components means you're casting that spell silently. That is going to pay off in so many scenarios. So having this as an option is pretty smart. Just remember, you are burning sorcery points on this. And at level 6, you don't have a lot. So if you want to tailor your spells in any way, you just have to be judicious of when you're going to use your psionic sorcery. Also at level 6, you get Psychic Defenses. You'll have resistance to psychic damage, and you have advantage on saving throws to avoid or end the Charmed or Frightened condition, because they are mental. At level 14, Revelation in Flesh. As a bonus action, you can spend 1 sorcery point or more to magically alter your body for 10 minutes. For each sorcery point you spend, you gain 1 of the following benefits of your choice, the effects of which last until the alteration ends. And here are some options. Aquatic Adaption. You gain a swim speed equal to twice your speed. Okay, so if you have a speed of 30, that means your swim is 60. You can also breathe underwater. Gills grow from your neck or flare behind your ears, and your fingers become webbed, or you grow wriggling cilia. That's some pretty good flair to go with that. Glistening Flight. You gain a fly speed equal to your speed, and you can hover. As you fly, your skin glistens with mucus or otherworldly light. Oh, let's go with the otherworldly light. See the invisible. You can see any invisible creature within 60 feet of yourself that isn't behind total cover. Your eyes also turn black or become writhing sensory tendrils. Worm like movement. Your body, along with any equipment you are wearing or carrying, becomes slimy and pliable. You can move through any space as narrow as 1 inch, and you can spend 5 feet of movement to escape from non magical restraints or the grappled condition. Ooh, man. Those are some great options, and each one is a sorcery point. The way that it's written, you can spend 1 sorcery point or more to magically alter your body. It sounds like you can stack these, and if I'm the DM, that's how I'm running it. Ooh, all of these have really useful properties just depending on your setting. Love it. Those are good options. Level 18, Warping Implosion. As a magic action, you teleport to an unoccupied space you can see within 120 feet of yourself. Immediately after you disappear, each creature within 30 feet of the space you left must make a strength saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, the creature takes 3d10 force damage and is pulled straight toward the space you left, ending in an unoccupied space as close to your former space as possible. On a successful save, the creature takes half the damage only. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, unless you spend 5 sorcery points to restore it, no action required. I like that because if you're able to bring people closer and they're on the outer edge of maybe an ally's area of effect or range for something else, to be able to pull them towards and get yourself to safety to set up a teammate, I really like that. And at level 18, that's the kind of shenanigans your party is going to pull off. Very good stuff. Okay, that is the Aberrant Sorcery subclass. We're going to move on to Clockwork. Now, some flavor for the Clockwork Sorcery Sorcerer. There are ways that you can put this into your backstory. Maybe a power arises from the plane of Mechanus, or maybe someone in your lineage became entangled with Modrons, and that power has worked itself down. Basically, your sorcery, your magic is shaped by clockwork efficiency. Okay, that's a way to put it. And there are some time elements here to your features, starting at level 3 with your clockwork spells. Again, these are going to be spells that are always prepared and don't count against the number of spells that you prepare yourself. At level 3, Aid, Alarm, Lesser Restoration, Protection from Evil and Good. This is dabbling now into some cleric spells, and I like this. Sorcerer level 5, you get Dispel Magic and Protection from Energy. Level 7, Freedom of Movement and Summon Construct. There you leaning into the mechanisms or the modrons. And then level 9, Greater Restoration or Wall of Force. Okay, so altering things like freedom of movement, protection from energy. So if you're about to take some elemental damage like fire or cold, that'll help you in that way. I like that because I think of clockwork like it's stopping time, and maybe you're slowing down time to gain that resistance is a way to think about it. Now, in addition, consult the manifestations of order table and choose or randomly determine a way your connection to order manifests while you're casting any of your sorcerer spells. Okay, so this is like a recommendation of flavoring spells. I like that. Let's do a roll. Okay, we rolled a 2. The hands of a clock spin in your eyes. Oh, that's cool. So maybe if I cast like Eovard's Black Tentacles, or if I have, maybe I'm casting Summon Construct, my eyes just become ticking hands. That's pretty cool. And there's other things on there. Your skin glows with a brassy sheen. The ticking of gears or ringing of a clock can be heard by you and those affected by your magic. That's pretty good. I like that one too. Also at level 3, you get Restore Balance. When a creature you can see within 60 feet of yourself is about to roll a d20 test, so any roll with advantage or disadvantage, you can take the reaction to prevent the roll from being affected by advantage or disadvantage. So an ally rolling with disadvantage, you can scrap that, make them roll regularly. Or maybe it's an enemy that's going to roll with advantage. Things like pack tactics give enemies advantage. To take away that advantage is pretty good. And thus it's called Restore Balance. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your charisma modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. At level 6, you get Bastion of Law. As a magic action, you can expend 1 to 5 sorcery points to create a magical ward around yourself or another creature you can see within 30 feet of you. The ward is represented by a number of d8s equal to the number of sorcery points spent to create it. So that option, you can expend 1 through 5. That's how many d8s are about to be featured in this feature. When the warded creature takes damage, it can expend a number of those dice, roll them, and reduce the damage taken by the number rolled on those die. So basically, if I spend 4 sorcery points as a magic action to put a ward on myself or an ally, myself or an ally can roll up to 4d8 to see if we can negate or eliminate the damage that we take. That's pretty good. A ward lasts until you finish a long rest or until you use this feature again. That's even bigger. Okay, that's really strong at level 6. To be able to have that, I was going to think, okay, last 10 minutes or an hour. Until a long rest, that's all day. That's pretty strong. Okay, level 14, Trance of Order. As a bonus action, you can enter this state for 1 minute. So you go into a trance. While you're in it, attack rolls against you can't benefit from advantage, and whenever you make a d20 test, you can treat a roll of 9 or lower on the d20 as a 10. Then add your modifier. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, or unless you spend 5 sorcery points to restore it. No action required. Okay. So it's a trance for a minute, and it's going to protect me somewhat. Okay, so maybe this is useful when you're low on HP, and maybe you don't have a healing potion or a healer in the party. Putting yourself in that trance might help with saving throws that you may have to endure. I get that. I like it. And then they can't benefit from advantage on you. That's a pretty good protection. And that's how I'm seeing it. There's likely other ways I'm sure you can use it. Level 18, Clockwork Cavalcade. As a magic action, you summon spirits in a 30-foot cube originating from you. The spirits look like modrons or constructs of your choice. The spirits are tangible, intangible, and invulnerable, and they create the effects below within the cube before they vanish. Once you use this action, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend 7 sorcery points to restore it. No action required. That's a lot. This has got to be good. Heal. The spirits restore up to 100 hit points divided as you choose among any number of creatures of your choice in the cube. That's a big healing pool to share. Repair. Any damaged objects entirely in the cube are repaired instantly. Okay, maybe you need to fix something like a lift to get out of the dungeon that you're in. This would repair it. Ooh. Dispel. Every spell of level 6 and lower ends on a creature and objects of your choice in the cube. Okay, things like Modify Memory. That's a level 6 spell, and it could be totally detrimental if used against you. Hags could probably do this. Yeah. Okay, so I think this is worth it. All 3 options are really, really good and can present themselves. I feel like the heal is the strongest of the 3, but to expend 7 sorcery points to get a second use out of it, that might be worth it, especially in a big boss fight, to be able to pull hit points. That's pretty good. Okay, next we have Draconic Sorcery. So this is going to represent itself as maybe a gift from a dragon, or maybe there is some kind of dragon in your lineage, or maybe you're affected by some magic item that siphoned power from a dragon's hoard. There's many ways to flavor this, but starting at level 3, you gain Draconic Resilience. Your hit point max increases by 3, and it increases by 1 whenever you gain another sorcerer level. You're going to need this. You're going to need this because your hit points are a d6. You're not going to have a ton of hit points. So to get 3 off the bat at level 3 and then 1 every level thereafter, it's pretty darn good. You accompany that with the Tough feat to give yourself 2 HP in addition to this every time you level up. That would be a good feat to take at level 4 or 8 to really help your health. I like that a lot. Level 3, you also get your Draconic spells. So like the other, these are always going to be prepared and not count against the number that you can prepare yourself. Starting at level 3, Alter Self, Chromatic Orb, Command, Dragon's Breath. At level 5, Fear and Fly. Level 7, Arcane Eye and Charm Monster. Level 9, Legend Lore and Summon Dragon. I love this so much. These spells are very carefully chosen. There are elemental spells in here like Chromatic Orb, choosing an element to have the orb dish out damage if you hit with it. Alter Self, Fear, these are things that dragons can do. Dragons can walk around disguised as people. They are highly intelligent. They are not beasts in that sense. So to charm another or arcane eye to be able to see and protect your horde with an arcane eye on your door to your horde, something like that. Legend lore. Dragons are extremely intelligent. They would know things and summon dragon. I think these are all very good, very carefully selected and align really, really well with what they're trying to do. Level 6, Elemental Affinity. Choose one of these types: acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison. You have resistance to that damage type, and when you cast a spell that deals damage of that type, you can add your charisma modifier to one damage roll of that spell. All right, so let's say you take lightning and you want to cast Chromatic Orb with lightning. If I hit, I can deal damage with my charisma modifier tacked on. I think that's really cool. It strengthens up some of those spells. Level 14, Dragon Wings. As a bonus action, you can cause draconic wings to appear on your back. The wings last there for an hour or until you dismiss them. No action required. For the duration, you have a fly speed of 60 feet. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Unless you spend 3 sorcery points to restore it, no action required. That is awesome. That is something I'm sure players expect to see that here, and it's here, and I like it a lot. Level 14, it makes sense. That's usually towards the tail end of most campaigns that are written at least by Wizards of the Coast. Even some homebrew third-party stuff go a little bit beyond that. So to get that at level 14 late in the game is pretty good, and it makes a lot of sense. Even higher levels of adventure, level 18, you get Dragon Companion. You can cast Summon Dragon without material component. You can also cast it once without a spell slot and regain the ability to cast it in this way when you finish a long rest. Whenever you start casting the spell, you can modify it so it doesn't require concentration. And if you do so, the spell's duration becomes 1 minute instead of it's 1 hour if you use concentration. It's a pretty strong 5th level spell. What it does is allows you to conjure a draconic spirit. It's not a full-blown dragon, but it is large in size and has some of its own features. So that's cool. Okay, we're on to wild magic sorcery. Now, this could present itself as maybe you or an ancestor were exposed to raw magic. Maybe you were blessed by a fae or cursed by a demon, or the opposite, blessed by a demon and cursed by the fae. Or maybe the fact that you have magic abilities at all is a total fluke. There are so many ways you can play this. It is basically chaos incarnate into the sorcerer class. At level 3, you get Wild Magic Surge. Once per turn, you can roll a d20 immediately after you cast a sorcerer spell with a spell slot. If you roll a 20, roll on the Wild Magic Surge table to create a magic effect. If the magic effect is a spell, it is too wild to be affected by your meta magic. Okay, so let's take a look at this Magic Surge table. There is a D100 worth of options here. They're all at random, and these things happen when you cast spells. So I don't have digital die. I don't have digital die handy, but I got a couple of dice. 78. What did we roll? A random creature within 60 feet of you has the poisoned condition for 1d4 hours. Ooh. At this point, as a DM, I would count the other creatures on the map, and I would probably roll that die to see who gets it. Oof, that could be good or bad. There are many options here. We'll do one more. 52. A spectral shield hovers near you for the next minute, granting you a +2 bonus to your armor class and immunity to magic missile. Ooh, for the next minute? I like that a lot. Okay, very, very cool. Those are some of the effects that can take place when you roll a 20 and then need to roll the Magic Surge table. That's happening anytime you cast a leveled spell. Also, at level 3, you get Tides of Chaos. You can give yourself advantage on 1d20 test roll before you roll the d20, right? So before you're making that skill check, that saving throw, that attack roll, you got to call it out to give yourself advantage and not a reroll. Once you do so, you must cast a sorcerer spell with a spell slot or finish a long rest before you can use this feature again. If you cast a sorcerer spell with a spell slot before you finish a long rest, you automatically roll on the Wild Magic Surge table. And that makes sense. It goes through. And because the spell goes through, a Wild Magic Surge happens. Love it. Level 6, Bend Luck. Immediately after another creature you can see rolls the d20 for a d20 test, you can take a reaction and spend one sorcery point to roll 1d4 and apply the number rolled as a bonus or penalty, your choice, on that d20 roll. So that's players being able to do it to the DM. Now that is just, how dare you? Level 14, Controlled Chaos. When you roll on the Wild Magic Surge table, you can roll twice and use either number. I like that a lot because if you roll something detrimental and you just landed a spell in one of those moments where you really needed to land a spell to help your party in this combat, and then you roll something detrimental on the Wild Magic table, that sucks. It's the price you pay picking this subclass, but I love it so much because it introduces chaos to the table. So now you have the ability at this stronger level to try and manipulate what happens. I like it. Level 18, you get Tamed Surge. This is immediately after you cast a sorcerer spell with a spell slot. You can create an effect of your choice from the Wild Magic table instead of rolling on it. You can choose any effect in the table except for the final row. And if the chosen effect involves a roll, you must make it. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. I like that a lot, being able to pick from the table at this high a level, level 18, except for the final row. What's on that final row? Roll 1d6 on a 1, you gain 2d10 hit points. On a 2, one ally of your choice within 300 feet of you regains 2d10 hit points. On a 3, you regain your lowest level expended spell slot. On a 4, one ally of your choice within 300 feet of you regains their lowest level expended spell slot. On a 5, you regain all of your expended sorcery points. Or on a 6, all of the effects of row 17 through 20 affect you simultaneously. What's on row 17 through 20? God. You are subjected to an effect that lasts for 1 minute unless its description says otherwise. Roll 1d8 to determine the effect. Now, this says all of them affect you. If you roll a 6, all effects simultaneously. Okay, what are they? If you roll a 1, you're surrounded by faint ethereal music only you and creatures within 5 feet of you can hear. On a 2, your size increases by 1 size category. On a 3, you grow a long beard made of feathers that remains until you sneeze, at which point the feathers explode from your face and vanish. You must shout when you speak if you roll a 4. On a 5, illusionary butterflies flutter in the air within 10 feet of you. On a 6, an eye appears on your forehead, granting you advantage on perception checks. On a 7, pink bubbles float out of your mouth whenever you speak. And on an 8, your skin turns a vibrant shade of blue for 24 hours or until the effect is ended by a remove curse spell. Whew, that's a lot to deal with. um, okay, that's going to happen at level 18. That's a little scary for me. Don't have to worry about that if I'm not playing a super high level. Okay, that's very interesting. I can see why they include a demon might have given you that, or a fey creature might have blessed or cursed you with that. Wild magic. Okay, yeah, that's really wild and raw. Very good. Okay, my favorite out of all these is Draconic Sorcery. I think that is a really, really cool way to do your sorcerer. Aberrant reminds me of a little bit of abilities that dip into what warlocks do. So that is also another cool option, but being stronger than a warlock, because warlock spells are terrible. Um, Speaking of which, warlock is next. If you haven't done so already, like and subscribe. We would love to get these videos in front of people who want another opinion on D&D related things, or in front of new players who are trying to learn how to play. And if you haven't done so already, check out our Talking Class playlist for all the class and subclass options. Until then, have fun building your sorcerer, and we'll see you at the table.